So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Dalles Chamber Community Affairs. Today, our guest is Kate Willis with the South Wasco Alliance, and she will be giving some updates and that. But before we begin, she probably knows everybody on the screen, but just in case, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves and our organizations. And if you have a quick tidbit of what's happening, that will be fantastic. So, we'll start with Corliss.
Good morning, everyone. Corliss Marsh. Hi, Kate. With Habitat for Humanity in the library and the senior center, but I want to advertise Harvest Fest in Hood River and the big quilt show up in Odell at the fairgrounds.
Awesome.
Friday and Saturday.
This Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Corliss. Dave Peters.
Hello, everybody. Kate, I know we've messaged before, Housing Resource Center, Columbia Cascade Housing, Mid-Columbia Housing Authority. I don't represent as many places as Corliss, so probably Scott, but anyway, you know what I do, so thanks.
Scott McKay.
Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. Scott McKay. I am the community liaison for Circles of Care, that we connect older adults with volunteers, older adults who need some kind of periodic help, such as friendly visits or medical trips. And unfortunately, we've had several requests from South Wasco County, and we've not been able to take care of those. We always, especially trips to medical appointments, especially like Portland, we always refer them to Jody Chastain, and he's been great in trying to provide those rides. Also, Circles of Care is one of the partners in the dementia-friendly Wasco County initiative that we are trying to start up here in Wasco County. And we initially thought it would be dementia-friendly the Dalles, but I've had conversations or requests from folks in South Wasco County who are taking care of someone who does have dementia. So we brought it out to the whole county, and we just haven't, it's been primarily focused in the Dalles case. So, but our hope is that we will be able to reach the whole county.
Great, thank you. Tanya, just in time.
Good morning. Tanya with Northwest Natural.
Okay, great. I think I have everybody around the screen. So with that, Kate, I'm going to let you take over. You just let me know when you want to have me share, unless that's right away.
I think go ahead right away, Lisa. But while Lisa's bringing it up, I want to give Lisa a special thank you, because behind the scenes, I literally called her like 2 minutes before the call, and I said, can you please send me the link? So number one, she's having to do that and drive for me. So thank you so much, Lisa. I really appreciate it. You're just helping me so much this morning. And then I do know, I think everybody on this call, and the second thing is I feel really guilty because I haven't been able to come to these calls, and I always get so much out of them and learning things from all of you. Tanya, I think you're the one that I know from the Economic Development Commission, and everybody else I know. Corliss, I haven't had a chance to meet you in person, and you've been on my list for like 3 years. So I really want to come have coffee with you. So thank you for inviting me to come and just give you an update about what's going on with South Wasco Alliance. And then I'll just connect the dots with all of you and what you do. Because Dave, there's a dot connected to you, and Scott, there's a dot connected to you. And, you know, that's what we're here to do, is to build alliance. So Lisa, if you could go to the next slide. Okay, so I realized that I had shared this with folks, I don't know, 3 years ago, in 2022, and things have changed. So I took what we already had, just to refresh your memory on why we exist. This organization was formed in 2015. Lisa Gamby, Denny Ross, you may recognize some of these names, Keith Mobley, Frank K. It wasn't Frank K actually, but anyway, some folks from South Wasco and Dufur down to the county line formed this organization kind of as a gap fill to represent in areas that didn't have actual governments. And there are only 4 cities in South Wasco, which is defined as Dufur down to the county line, the other 3 being Maupin, and then Shaniko and Antelope. And otherwise, it's rural unincorporated territory. So South Wasco Alliance was formed to align and build alliance and represent folks in that area in terms of economic and community development. So that's what happened. And the first wave of folks who the founding members worked very hard to bring, along with McEd and a whole bunch of other partners, to bring broadband down to Maupin. And that came at the very end in December of 2019. And I was rolling on in early 2019. So I wasn't there when they formed or did the first wave of work. And the other wave of work that included like a youth program that lasted for 9 years. It folded just 2 years ago, or 1 year last April. So not quite 2 years ago, because it just couldn't sustain capacity wise, and it's still a really big gap. So that's why South Wasco Alliance was formed and why it exists. And since that time, since 2019, when I've been on, we now have a board of 7 members that represent all the geographic areas in South Wasco except Dufur. We don't have anybody from Dufur. We need somebody from there. And then different experiences, that includes Northern Warm Springs. So we have a tribal elder on our board, and we have folks representing different ages and different interests and different points of view and life experiences. Okay, Lisa, let's go to the next slide. This is our geographic service area. It is an all volunteer nonprofit. It's a really big territory, and the agenda includes we'll get to it in the next few slides, but we cover a lot of territory and we try to be representative of what's in the area. Okay, Lisa, next slide, please. Yeah, and this is the main gist of our mission. This is a really big, broad umbrella in terms of the local economy, health, and basically quality of life in South Wasco, because what we're really finding is that a lot of services can't come down into our area. Agencies that are regional or state have a hard time, our county have a hard time reaching down into our area. So we are, unless you're in a town, sometimes they reach at that, Maupin does a good job of bringing services down into the areas where they are, but it doesn't reach everybody in our area. So that's where we're trying to do the gap fill with South Wasco Alliance. Next slide, please, Lisa. So since early 2020, and remember, this was right when COVID was coming on. So in 2019, that was kind of the transition of the first wave of board. They kind of all rolled off. They had done a lot of really good work, formed a Parks and Rec district, did the youth program, brought broadband down to Maupin, and had run a business expo. And Mike Davis was involved in that at that point, and other folks. It was really pretty successful, but there was a lot of talk about food systems and not having food in, there's sort of being a food desert. And so we started working on food, and it was very serendipitous because by the time that COVID rolled around and the quarantine happened in early March of 2020, we were actually organized enough to have a community organizing meeting that was sponsored by Sharon Thornberry at the Columbia Gorge Food Bank. She came along with an AmeriCorps Rare and facilitated a feast event, and I can't remember, the acronym is like food something agriculture. Anyway, it's feast is an acronym for community organizing, basically around local food and around other, what we really are finding, social determinants of health, including jobs and a good economy. Because if people don't have that, or housing, their health is impacted, their quality of life is impacted, and we just can't get to where we need to be. So we really focused on food in the beginning. And then in 2021, we had a facilitated strategic planning session. We refined our strategic priorities in 2022. So since 2021, really, we've been focused on 5 key areas. One is food systems to start. And since that time, like you can see, we've had 2 new food pantries come down to the area that the food bank was trying very hard to get in for over 15 years. And they finally got receptivity. Now people can't even imagine not having that support down there. And the food bank is reporting that there's really a lot less food insecurity in the area. But, you know, what we're really trying to move into is food self-reliance, not dependency. So our goal is to move the needle, move into economic development, destination development, doing a lot of work with Travel Oregon and Visit Central Oregon now, working on housing, working on and workforce development. So we're definitely working on health. We did a big health assessment in 2023 with help from the Columbia Gorge Health Council and the Bridges to Health program. And we now have our first community health worker that started in May. It's really making a tremendous difference because we've had several bond measures that have tried to go through in our area for our clinic. There's been a lot of struggles with the clinic in our area. And all of these things are intertwined with housing, with health, with economic development and workforce development in our area. And if you can imagine, we kind of use a community capitals framework where you have to start with engaging people, building trust, meeting them wherever they are, and where they were when we started was food, and then move in the direction of more self-reliance, more economic development, more economic opportunities, and skilling up. So that's how it ties into the chamber. And, you know, we consider the Dalles that we have in the Maupin area chamber, and we've been doing a lot of cross-organizational, cross-collaborative work locally with our area chamber, the city of Maupin, all the cities that are down here, you know, working a little less in Dufur, unfortunately, because Dufur orients more toward the Dalles and less toward South Wasco, which makes sense for many reasons. They have a great school system. That is our main point of contact there. But down from there, down to the county line, working in all those areas on all of those issues as they interrelate. And then we're, you know, trying to move the needle and toggle wherever the community has the energy and that people are willing to step up, because we also don't have a lot of capacity. So next slide, Lisa, please. Okay, sorry, I am getting a call, so I've got to see the slide. Yeah, the partnerships, the only way, can you guys hear me okay? Okay, good. There's a call coming in, so I'm ignoring it. Are these partnerships, the collaborative, and I'm underscoring the word alliance in South Wasco Alliance, because like I said, we're all volunteer. There's no way that we could do this work unless we did it in collaboration. So our strategy has been since 2019, basically, or 2020, to get the lift, build alliances at all of these levels, local, regional, you know, including county, state, and federal, and to make that concrete for you guys. So for instance, with health, we have now a South Wasco Health Collaborative that was formed at the end of 2022. That included 5 local organizations. That was the South Wasco Alliance as the convener, and then it included the school, the Grange, the clinic, and the library. And we worked then with the county, the regional health council, Columbia Gorge Health Council, and very closely with especially Commissioner Brady in particular, but all the county commissioners, and up through the state level with the U.S. The U.S. senators' offices, Merkley Wyden, and you know, OHA, One Community Health, MCAC, Gobi, you can name all the different ecosystems that's involved in health, and all the related housing is another one, the Housing Authority. So working to say, okay, how do we solve for health? And the first thing we had to do was get money to do a health assessment, which we completed in 2023 with Rhonda Zachow, who works with the Columbia Health Council, Mid-Columbia Health Council, was referred to us as a consultant, does their health assessments, did a deeper dive on South Wasco County. We found out some very interesting things about, by zip code and by different tracts of what our different populations need. And they really need different things. Like down in Shaniko, we have a lot of veterans. We have no children there. We have very few people, but they have very different needs than, let's say, down in Simnasho, tribal, there's more food insecurity there than anywhere else. There are childcare needs and other needs more in other areas of South Wasco. So that deeper dive really helped us see what we need. And the key things that popped up were housing, number one, Dave, obviously, and that's not a surprise to anybody. Housing as a function of economic well-being and of health. And that's evidence-based. We know that. So huge factor, huge determinant for economic development in our area and health. So key driver. So we're really focused on that. And then the other ones were sort of behavioral and mental health, addiction, childcare, early childhood development, and employment and jobs. Employment and jobs was number 2, workforce development. So then now we're moving the needle, and we since then have secured money for the community health worker. The community health worker is coming in. We now have OHA, somebody from the board from the North Central Public Health District, and a lot of other partners that are trying to get lift there. And we're going to try to actually do articles of formation for this collaborative, even though it's not a 501c3 or like a legally recognized entity. It will have basically like an MOU, kind of like articles of formation that will have a shared mission across all of these different organizations that are local, regional, state, and federal and county, to lift on health in our area, with housing being a key focus, along with the other things that came out of the health assessment. Jody Chastain came up too, because transportation did not come out of our health assessment. And we surveyed over 300 people in our area. We did it over the summer of 2023. We went to 6 or 7 different communities in South Wasco and leveraged existing events like Moppin Days or Shaniko Days or other back to school days, to make sure we could get good participation and representative feedback. Transportation did not come up, but it is an acute unmet need in our area. And Scott, you spoke to that. We still are trying to solve for that, because McEd has link, but it does not actually meet the needs of our area, which is more of a door-to-door that Jody Chastain and his group have been serving for like 20 years in our area. And they're aging out and they're exhausted, and it's all volunteer. So we're trying to figure out other ways. And Commissioner Brady is helping us with that. Lisa, next slide, please. I'm almost to the end. My talking head is going to turn off in 1 second, and then we can talk. So these are our main areas of focus. As you can see, I'm actually right now at down in Prineville, because part of what we're doing is partnering in terms of economic and workforce development. We're partnering for several years now with Travel Oregon and Visit Central Oregon. Lisa, I've seen you at a lot of those events, the Governor's Conference and other things that are going on. There's a destination management studio going on for Central Oregon right now. Big effort that's been going on for the last year. This really, it leverages the fact that Wasco County and there's the Gorge, which is one area for destination development, tourism, everything that ties around tourism, restaurants, lodging, outfitters. riverboats, hikes, vineyards, breweries, like all of these things that you need to museums that visitors will come, drop their money. Hopefully we can attract them. I know Lisa works on that just a ton, and we've got to get people to stop and see our beautiful area, and we want to draw them from the gorge down. We want them to enjoy the gorge. We want to cross-sell the gorge. We talk to that regional destination management office a lot. Lizzie Keenan and her group that Lisa works with, I know a lot. They're wonderful. They're doing a fantastic job in the gorge. And we happen to sit in Central Oregon. South Wasco is in the Central Oregon region. So we're working with them. I'm in Prineville now with several folks from South Wasco where we're trying to get left in South Wasco and attract people, particularly from Bend, as a dispersion strategy because they're too hot in Bend. And how can we do that in a sustainable way in South Wasco and build on the recreational amenities that we have, improve our lodging, improve our restaurants, improve what we can offer, get into agritourism. We do have farmers markets now. We just started a tribal market with future fund money from Visit Central Oregon in Simnasho. They'll go into their second season this coming year. You might see signs when you're driving down 26, or if you're on Highway 216 off of 197. We do have like those blue tourist signs that point down to the Simnasho Tribal Market. So that's the direction that we're moving, along with, value add food production, if we can get into it, and other Main Street development in our towns where there are governments to develop it, like down in Antelope. Dark Skies. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's a big deal, or disability traveling for accessibility, and folks who need help, not just physical disabilities, but all the hearing and all kinds of different disabilities, trying to make things more accessible in our area. So as we lean into that, we expect the immediate reaction in our area. There's a whole campaign, kind of don't bend, mopping. People do not want to be bend. They don't want this to happen. We don't want that to happen. So we have to be mindful of that and be careful about the way we do this, and thoughtful about having housing, affordable housing. If we're successful, we need housing for our workforce. We need a skilled up workforce. We need people who are ready before we dial anything up like this. But it's kind of in the works quietly to figure out how can we do it. And I think, Lisa, I don't know if I have another slide. Yeah, this is just to really show geographically, where we're situated on that backside of the Cascade Mountains, Mount Hood, in between the gorge, which is incredibly beautiful. More population, problems, no question, lots of barriers that are being handled by this chamber, Lisa's chamber, the Dalles chamber, and all the good people who work with it. The Columbia Gorge Community College, all of you guys, and then down to Bend, and what's there, we're in the middle, and we're trying to draw from north and south to come to our area and be uniquely different. So there's no competition. It's how do we complement and actually close that trail, make it so that travelers and that whole corridor can be healthy and have a good standard of living and quality of life. So that's what we're working on. I don't think I have any other slide. Okay, thank you so much, Lisa. I just want to open it up and get your thoughts and get your guidance and any questions you have.
So I'm going to make a comment. Kate, when you figure out how to get that traffic from Bend to you, please let me know, because
Yes.
we have been trying for 10 years to get the traffic from Portland, Multnomah Falls, and Hood River to us, and we're still only getting maybe 5%. So
Yeah.
we have there is hundreds of thousands of visitors a month to Multnomah, and we're getting maybe 100 that come through our community. So we have not been able to and we've gone with efforts, moved down, car free, all of this. Here's the loop. And we still we can't get them past Hood River. So when you
Right.
find that magic key, please let
Oh
me,
my gosh.
because then we can get them past us and then on down to you. So
Yes.
yes, so it is tricky. People see the main things that Travel Oregon promotes, and that's going to be your Multnomah Falls. It's going to be your Crater Lake. It's Mount Hood. And we have those before you ever get to the Dalles. So those are two big iconic, places that people are going for destinations. So we have work, you and I, we both have work to do to see if we can get them to come to this county. Because we definitely,
100%.
yeah, we definitely need those tourism dollars in our county just as much as any other county. So I'll be excited to hear, and then I'll let you know what I find out in November as I am going to California and attending an accessibility
Great.
type. And it's not, it's accessibility more on if they're hearing or eye impaired or the wheelchairs to even autistic. What are our signs doing? How do they navigate? So our whole region is going down to that. And so I will be excited to hear what they have, and then I will gladly sit down and share so that we can both look at that and assess it, and maybe make a county-wide type of effort also.
I think that's fantastic. And Lisa, I do have one thought. If you're not already doing it, I know you're doing a really great job. And yeah, it just takes a long time, I think, to penetrate and to get awareness. One thing, if you're not already there, do you know the folks who are at the PDX Visitor Center?
We know a few, and we do have our stuff there. And they've been educated on who we are, what we are, and where we are.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess if you are willing and haven't already, I think maybe what we could do is, or what would make sense. We've invited them to South Wasco. We've been doing a FAM tour, a familiarization tour. It's called FAM. I know you know that, but folks on the call might not know that. We didn't know it because we had a tour last year and we had like 50 different folks come from foundations and elected officials and agency directors. And it was about 50 people. We're having another one this year. Actually, tomorrow. Oh my gosh, I've got to get back, but it's tomorrow. And I welcome any of you. I think we have seats on the bus. If any of you want to come, it's all day tomorrow, but we would love to have you. And let me know, just text me or email me. Maybe Lisa, would you mind putting,
I can put your, you sure
contact me and as soon as you can if you want to come on it. But it's actually really fun. We're going to go to Antelope. We're going to go to Simnashio for salmon bake at 6:00, and we're going to go to Ty Valley, and you'll get a little glimpse of what's going on down in South Wasco. We have a little fewer than 30 people, and where I'm going with this, Lisa, is those folks are highly aware because we've done a FAM tour, and I don't know if you've done a FAM tour in the Dalles and the surrounding area, but that might be an idea.
We've been doing FAM tours for different publications, different people, probably for almost the last 12 years. So
okay, and have they come? Have those folks come from the PDX Visitor Center?
No, not them. So we'll have to look at that. But yeah, so we've been doing FAM tours. We do them as a region, and then I've also done them local because I've just done my own.
Sure. Okay.
I've hosted publications and different people and done different things, but I have not brought the PDX people to our region for FAM. So we'll look into that.
Yeah, it's like I'm talking to a professor here. Like I'm the student telling the professor, this is so dumb.
Oh, no.
My apologies.
No, everybody can learn. We've done more of FAMs that are driven towards publication so that we are printed as a story and not an ad. And then getting the awareness, we've brought the Travel Oregon team out. So yes, so we've all done those different things. So, but I am still open. We're never too old to learn something. So Tanya has a question.
So I just am curious in your fam tour, if you ever take folks last year, it doesn't sound like this year, but I always enjoy taking people over to the White River Falls and then down to Shears Falls. You make that loop, you come back out through Maupin if you wanted to take that road. I just think that's a really unique area down there. And personally, I think it's much prettier than Multnomah Falls and a lot less people. So I'm just curious if that's ever on your list.
It is definitely. And I agree with you. I mean, it's just different, right? I don't know, our county and the area out here on the cusp of west to east it is so unique. It's really undiscovered. And yes, I agree with you. And it is on our list. This year we had it on the FAM to do exactly what you said. And what happened was, because of the geographic distances and wanting to get all the way down to Antelope, because they have so much going on there, they're doing dark sky and they're doing accessibility, they're doing Main Street, they're like really doing a lot. And then we're going all the way like that arc where you have to come back to, there's no direct way to go from like Antelope to Simnasho. So because of the geography, we couldn't fit it into the day without hurting the cats and saying, okay, good enough. Did you see it? Good. Get on the bus. Like, you know what I mean? We would have to hurry people. So it is on our list. We are not stopping to spend time there. We will be passing by Shears Falls, I believe, be on that drive, but we won't be able to like stop and look at it. However, the fishing is being done now at this time. It literally, like, I'm getting little videos of Noah fishing, a tribal member fishing there, that for the fish bake that will be served that evening. So the film will be showed, but they won't actually stop there, unfortunately.
Oh, well, having it in video, that might be a great addition when the geography conflicts with your time schedule. So that's great.
But it's a really good thought. It is really scenic.
All right. Thank you, Tanya. Scott?
Okay, well, just follow up on, excuse me, I hit the wrong button here. Just to follow up on Tanya's comments that I remember teaching at Petersburg and driving the school bus out 15 mile for the first time, dropping off students, and then turning around and seeing the view, and that was spectacular. And you know, it was just amazing. And that's, you know, I was from the Midwest, and so I was really impressed, and it was beautiful. But on
15 mile.
Excuse me?
15 mile. I got it. I noted.
And Tanya would know more about that than I would, but the changing the discussion a little bit, I work with older adults, try to provide support for older adults. And the more rural, well, in Wasco County, almost 20% of the population is 65 and older, and that's about even with the number of those 17 and younger. Generally speaking, as you go more frontier, more rural, such as going all the way to Wheeler County, the percentage increases dramatically. I think Wheeler County is almost up to 40% of the population is 65 and older. Do you have, in your service area that you're working with, do you have any idea what the percentage of older adults would be in your area?
Yes, and I'm happy to send you that. I'm happy to send any of you the the livability assessment, because the demographics were kind of honed in on our area by zip code and census tract. So, yeah, I'm happy to provide that to you.
Well, that'd be great. And excuse me?
Just email me.
Okay, I'll email you.
Great.
I'll get the email address from Lisa. And that was the other question I had. It was access to the community health assessment, but you'll be sending that to me, emailing that to me, so that'd be great.
You bet.
Well, like I earlier mentioned, that I think we've gotten calls from Providence, maybe Adventist, about asking whether Circles of Care reached down into southern Wasco County. And I know we received 2 calls, and both times we mentioned that we could not, that wasn't in our service area, as at least now it isn't at this time, but and then with dementia friendly, I know Lane McGill has talked about several times where they've gotten calls out to South Wasco County because of someone who has dementia and maybe missing. I'm not exactly sure what the deal was, but that required a response from the Wasco County Sheriff's Office. So this is an issue, and we're hoping that we'll be able to provide support for those living with dementia out in South Wasco County, where they possibly could be more isolated than living in the Dalles.
That would be great, Scott. Actually, June Reckman, who is our new community health worker through Bridge, she's working with the other community health workers at Bridges to Health with Katie Williams and those guys, and who are wonderful. And I just sent her something from Ronnie Hyde from Gobi about Alzheimer's training and contacts for that. So I'm hoping that our CHW knows about that. And we're just trying to keep all of that going as part of the collaborative to see what kinds of services and, wraparound care we can provide. But yeah, I think as we build capacity, let's see if we can get you guys more funding or whatever you need to bring your service down into our area. That would be great.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Kate.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Scott. Dave.
Well, I think Scott already asked my question. So that Kate, the study or whatever it was called that had housing as the #1 priority, that's available. That's what was Scott asked about, correct? Because I'd like that also. We're going to be looking at potentially building in South County at some point before too long. But I thought we could get any help we can.
Absolutely. And Scott, what we're doing, and just so everybody else knows, is, Ben Gates and James Lee are working on that 24 units, right? And in Maupin, which is great because the infrastructure's potentially there. It's very well situated. But the idea, what we really want to do, we're nesting housing up under health. So it is as identified as a key priority by the organizations that are involved in the health collaborative. They see that as a #1 thing. Now, Josh, somebody in your organization, Joshua, does that ring a bell? Is there someone at the Housing Authority named Joshua?
There is, but not the Housing Authority. But Karen and I are meeting with Ben on Friday.
Okay, great. Because really what we need is a long-term strategy to figure out where else can we go get site control down the line, longer term, since it takes such time, that as you work on the 24 units, then how do we get site control of other land for future? Because if we're going to be doing any kind of economic development in our area, we're going to need housing, and we're going to need affordable housing and management that, it doesn't go to a developer other than, your organization, basically, or some kind of a land trust or something.
Right. If you haven't been at meetings, we are trying to develop a land trust as well. So I think I'm not involved yet with Ben's project. I'm assuming it's rentals, multifamily, but I'm involved more in the land trust. Yeah. And wherever we can get land, that's the key. That's expensive to even get to a point where you can apply. So if land can be, that cost be removed from the equation, or at least secured, and then, we get funding for it later, that always helps.
Well, maybe we could have you come and talk to the Victor Mondragon is he's with OHA. He's their new regional outreach coordinator. He's situated in the Dalles, but he works for Oregon Health Authority. He's on the South Wasco Alliance board now, and I've asked him to lead the collaborative. So we meet monthly. It would be great if you could come and educate us on what would the health collaborative need to be doing to be trying to identify land. What could you coach us? Could you tell us what we need to be doing to lay the groundwork for that, to help us?
In our area, it's flat. But
It's what?
anything flat is a starting point. But no, we might wait for that to do. We're looking for a developer right now. We're actually this week working pretty hard on getting the description for it. So if you know anybody that's done housing development, we're going to be looking for an experienced, all sorts of housing development. We're looking for that position, and they would know more than I do. Seriously, when I did development, it was back 20, 25 years ago, and we usually only reacted to a city or a community coming to us saying they have a need, and then often with land, like you mentioned. So I don't get that involved with construction anymore, except now the new community land trust. But yeah, I mean, I'll certainly put that on the list for Karen, the executive director, to keep in mind once we get that position filled. I think that new position person would be better to speak to that.
Okay, great. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Any other questions?
I just want to thank you for inviting me. And
Yeah.
this is a wonderful venue, Lisa. It really is great. And I got to get my act together so I can participate. We have been doing such heavy lifting that I just no excuses except for other than that.
I get it. It's a heavy lifting season right now. So yes, it seems to be even busier right now than ever. So, and I'll get a hold of you because I want to talk some chamber stuff with South Wasco, but we'll do that at another appointment. How's
Perfect. That
Yeah.
sounds good.
that? Dave, did you have any more questions, or Scott or Tanya or Corliss? You've been quiet. Have any other questions?
I'll lower my hand. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Just checking on you.
Yeah, I know. I'm just moving around the house.
Look at that
Okay.
beautiful quilt. Oh, that's
I know.
beautiful.
So, all right. Kate, do you have any follow-up or any last things you want to leave us?
I don't. Just thank you so much to all of you. And
Yeah.
I look forward to connecting with you guys in this venue again.
All right. Well, enjoy Prineville. And say hi to Kim. I'm sure she's going to be down there. So, yes. So tell her I said hi, and
I will.
we'll be in touch. And everyone else, thank you so much. There is a ton of things happening this weekend all over Hood County and Wasco County. So please take a check of the community calendar and take a look, and then hop in and have some fun. We will see you next Thursday right here, if not before some event that we are hosting. So, oh, don't forget, sorry, I guess we are big hosting Tuesday night. Doors open at 5:30, begins at 6. It's the Wasco County Candidates Forum. We have invited those that mostly affect the Dalles area, but we've also invited our representatives and senators that affect Wasco County. Not everybody has replied yet, but we do have some people coming, and we will have questions for them, and that will be Tuesday evening at the Senior Center. So we are doing that. So with that, I will leave you. Have a fantastic day, and you guys take care.
Thank you.